it's not always easy for people to understand how devolution, the current devolution settlement, inhibits our ambitions for Scotland, where quite often workarounds are have to be found, and so on. So in terms of your role thus far in your political career, can you single out one area where you felt so frustrated that devolution has ultimately limited Scotland's ambition?
Well, yeah, I could think of a number of different areas. So let me just take a good example. A good example would be prior to being in Justice, I used to be the Minister for Public Health. And I always had a focus on that. Don't expect the health service to deal with all the health inequalities that we experience in our society. Health inequality is a product of social inequality. Child poverty is a consequence of people being poor because people don't have access to money. Child poverty is highly sensitive to income. And if you impact on people's income, then you will find yourself in a situation where what we do in Scotland through a devolved government can be easily undermined by the UK government. So let me just give you a couple of practical examples. So some of the deep-seated health inequalities that we have in our country, in Scotland, are a direct result of social inequality. And that social inequality is very often driven by poverty. And one of the things that we are limited by in being able to tackle things like child poverty, although we're doing things like the child payment, which is a game changer, and we're doubling that if we're re-elected, that can put money into families' pockets, it can easily be undermined if the UK government make further changes to the benefit system that basically take money out of people's pockets. So tackling things like child poverty and inequality, we can do as much as we can within our limited powers, but it can be easily undermined by the UK government and on decisions that they make. Another good example recently, which will come back to haunt us in the years to come, and that is as a result of Brexit, we are no longer able to access Europol and the European crime databases because we are no longer linked into the European Court of Justice as we're out of Europe. We've decided not to do that. The UK government has decided not to do that, and what I think is a very serious error. That now means that Police Scotland no longer have access to all of the intelligence that they can get through Europol, which will come back to haunt us in future years because organised crime groups will exploit that, knowing that we no longer have access to that information. So that's a real loss which will affect us in justice. And another practical example on my own portfolio side just now is energy policy. So very significant parts of energy policy are reserved to the UK government. We need to decarbonise our energy network in order to achieve our net zero ambitions. If the UK government, and that's got to be achieved by 2045, we've got to get to net zero. The UK by 2050, so we've got to do it ahead of them. And by 2030, we've got to be at 75% of our target. So if the UK government don't take forward the right energy policy at a UK level, it can undermine our ability to achieve our net zero ambitions. So there's three practical examples in every portfolio I've been in where our limited powers in Scotland potentially have a significant impact on our ability to make decisions and to get access to information and achieving our own policy objectives because of powers that continue to be held at UK government or decisions being made over our heads, such as Brexit, in a way that are detrimental to our future.
And limiting the ambition of Scotland to do better for its people.
Absolutely.